Oh, no. history can't fit into one mere mind. So I'm learning how to empty out and take it one piece at a time. Staring at the sun will make you blind. So I hope you spend some time in darkness and meet me back in the light.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will. And we'll get there, heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Yes, we'll get we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Oh yes, we'll get there. Knows how we will get there, but we know we will. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know we will. And we'll get there, heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. Yes, we'll get there, heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. Oh yes, we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us today. It's very nice to have you with us. This is All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church in Shreveport and our ongoing virtual worship services. This is a congregation that's built, as is the Unitarian Universalist tradition, on covenant rather than creed. We come together around the things that we find valuable. Although there is a lot of diversity in our congregation, we agree that we will treat respectfully those with differing paths and opinions. This is not easy. It is our challenge and it is our covenant. So whoever you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be with us, you are welcome. I would like to invite our board president to share a few words with us today.
Hey, thanks, Barbara. And I would also like to I'd also like to welcome the visitors in our Facebook feed, as we are always happy to welcome new members into our community, and would love to see you guys more. Sometimes it's hard to reach out to people in a way that isn't weird, just through kind of the Facebook feed. But if you can give us your email address or like message us or something like that, then we'll make sure that you get invited into whatever's going on. I would always like to recommend to everyone to stay connected and stay safe. Our at-risk members are more vulnerable now than they ever were as the pandemic rages on. And we need to make sure and keep everyone connected and involved. If you have any ideas on how we can do that better, then I'm always open to ideas, and we would love to hear what you think and ways that you would like to get connected, and whatever you got, let us know, and just stay connected with us. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Susan Caldwell.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bennett. I appreciate it. And I join Bennett and Barbara in welcoming everybody. We thank you for joining us today. I just want to remind you of a few things. First of all, we're going to be trying to get back to our tradition of donating every month to the Noel Food Pantry. They are open for business again, and we're going to get with Jodelle Atkins and figure out when she can bring her little Kia Soul like she was doing when we were back in the building. Sometime on Sunday, we'll figure out what's best for everybody, whether it's right after church or later in the afternoon. But we will have that up by the first Sunday of August so that you can bring your food to donate as you were doing before. I want to remind you, we are having family religious education today at 1 o'clock. We will have virtual coffee hour right after the service. So 12 o'clock or a few minutes after the service ends, we're trying again with this virtual coffee hour. We hope we have a better link in the comments today. The link was also in your Friday email. It should all be the same link. We're hoping that works a little better today than it did last week, and that you'll be able to join us. And then also today we have middle school, high school at 2 o'clock. Noah Wagstaff and I will be we just want to check in. We want to maybe float some ideas about what we're going to do going forward, and maybe even play a couple of games. We'll see how it goes. But I think that is all I have for today. Highland Blessing Dinner is still going on. It's every Thursday. Our Thursday is still the first Thursday. They don't need that many people, but if you'd like to help out, just let me know, or show up on a Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock, not 5. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to Barbara.
As in the Old English root of the word worship, we use this time to elevate and contemplate matters of worth. In our theologically diverse community, as I mentioned earlier, these can be varied and many. Still, together we join in celebrating that which is greater. Informed by all these considerations, let us enter a spirit of worship. We who are Unitarian Universalists not only affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, we also affirm the inherent wholeness of every being, despite apparent brokenness. As you use, we believe that paying attention to something is an act of love. Witnessing and naming brokenness is how we begin to heal. Some sorrows demand to be named out loud. Like, my sister died. My body is fragile. I'm scared that I won't be able to pay my rent this month. The streets in my city are filled with violence. Healing begins when we examine what's in pain, wonder how it occurred, and allow it to teach us. If love begins with attention, repair takes the form of compassion, bearing witness, speaking out. Repair looks like connection, justice, and even revolution. It looks like after-school tutoring programs, community meals, no matter how virtual they all might be, and holding signs in front of City Hall. And it begins by placing faith, full trust and faith, that there is inherent wholeness in every broken situation. Though the space we share at this time is in a form that's really hard to define, it is nonetheless sacred and a sanctuary, made such by our presence and our intention of compassionate interaction and caring. So we bless this. I have a congregational response that I will be asking you to help me with along this part of the reading. The response is, we bless this congregation as a place of love and peace. We bless this space and each other with our intention for love and service. May this truly be a sanctuary that inspires us to live out our faith by serving the cause of love and justice in the world. May our hearts be made kind and our spirits emboldened to act. May the fire of our commitment burn boldly, because we know that we are beings, all beings, long as we do, for laughter, nurture, sustenance, rest, and care. We bless this sanctuary as a place of love and peace. We bless this space and each other with our intention to connect. May this truly be a sanctuary that radiates with the warmth of relationship. May it be a place that nurtures and sustains human kinship, offering a shelter and comfort, and creating bonds of affection and care. May it provide opportunities for collaboration and interfaith work that does not end at these walls, virtual walls, but reaches out into the larger community and the world. May we be woven, may it be woven, and may we be woven ever more artfully and lovingly into the interconnected web of life of which we are all a part. We bless this sanctuary as a place of love and peace. I'd like to ask our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, Ms. Susan Caldwell, if she would lead the first part of our chalice lighting today.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart.
Thank you. We light this chalice to honor our past for the founders and prophets of Unitarian Universalism who've paved the way for our liberal religion in the world, and also for the individuals who gave birth to our religious community here. We light this chalice to honor our present for our search for truth and meaning, our nurture of diverse spiritual paths, and our service to the cause of love and justice, acknowledging our sacred responsibility to live our principles with integrity. We light this chalice to honor our future for a kinder and fairer world, for a people and a planet made whole by the Spirit of life. The word courage comes from the Latin cur, which means heart. According to poet Mark Nepo, the original use of the word courage meant to stand by one's core, a striking concept that reinforces the belief found in almost all traditions that living from the center is what enables us to face whatever life has to offer.
To encourage means to hearten, to impart strength and confidence. This is our work as a religious community, to encourage one another, to be bold in engaging the world around us, as well as what scares us internally, to give one another the confidence and heart to live as fully as possible.
Now, if you will join our board president in a congregational response.
With full hearts, we affirm our relationship with one another. We recognize our agency and connective power, and we accept our responsibility to be bold and courageous.
I'd like to invite our technical director, Brittany Turner, to lead us in our unison affirmation today.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Thank you. It takes courage to open again and again. Look around you for the things that will last. If you're bound up in your fear, you won't find answers you want to hear. It takes courage to open that door. It takes courage to reach out beyond what we know, looking deeper than our thoughts will allow. if we're wedded to our doubt, we'll miss the visions that lead us out. It takes courage to open that door. So the way that we get that is one step at a time. And I'd invite you to sing with me one more step with some different words than we usually use. One more step. We will take one more step till there is peace for us and everyone. We'll take one more step. One more voice. We will hear one more voice till every voice feels heard by everyone. We'll hear one more voice. One deep truth. We'll still seek one more deep truth till truth is clear for us and everyone. Will seek one more deep truth. Miss Susan, would you like to share some of your wisdom with us today?
I would. Thank you. And the wisdom I am sharing today actually comes from Jalen Pimala Scott, who has done this wonderful story about the Japanese art of kintsugi, which is all about making beauty from brokenness. This is the art of repairing pottery, broken pottery, ceramics, plates, teacups. It's a very special art that requires a lot of training and care to do well. The artisan uses gold leaf to highlight the beauty of the imperfections that remain when a broken item has been repaired. And anyone who views the object is forever reminded that the item was once broken, and yet it is beautiful. You can see just some examples here. We can learn from kintsugi how to be better Unitarian Universalists. As Unitarian Universalists, we don't hide that we have made mistakes in our relationships, whether that is in our relationships with our family or friends or fellow church members, or whether that has been in our history as a predominantly white denomination that often benefited from the same systems of racism and oppression that we publicly stood against. We repair our mistakes with love and with our covenant, which our covenant is the way that we agree to be together. We remember that our relationships are more beautiful once we have acknowledged hurt, once we have asked for forgiveness, corrected our mistakes, and made a sacred promise to each other, to our community, to do better in the future. When we have learned to heal our relationships, with Black and Brown Unitarian Universalists, and with all people who are marginalized in whatever way, our church will be more beautiful than before, just like the beautiful bowls and vases and plates that kintsugi artists have restored. And I thank you for sharing this time with me.
Good. For today's meditation, make yourself comfortable, your body settled and balanced. Begin with a deep and shift your attention to your heart space. Imagine you are breathing in and out of your heart. Breath to be deep and kind. And now in your mind's eye, at the surface, waves so separate and distinct. And at its depth and all-embracing oneness. Now reflect on your own experience as being like that ocean, waves separate and distinct, so many different mind states, so many conflicting fears, joys and sorrows, clarity and confusion. Downward into the quiet space of mindfulness, into the all-embracing. From this center, you can say to all the changing waves, welcome, all. Here is the peace and wholeness that you seek. The way is open, the heart is home. And reflect that in this quiet center, you find in all those you know, friends and foes, those near and distant, fears, their wisdom and foolishness, their history and their possibilities. Deep and quiet center of interbeing, you can say, welcome, welcome each and all. Peace and wholeness that you seek, the way is open, the journey is certain. The heart home. And reflecting even more deeply, this quiet space of interbeing of all humanity, embracing every changing wave of human life. Every gender, every belief, the young and the old, the powerful and the weak, and suffer. And from the depth of the ocean of all that is human, arises the invitation and the promise. Welcome, welcome each and all. And wholeness you seek, the way is open, the journey is certain. The heart. In these few moments, rest in that deep oneness. Kind beyond all judgment, open and affirming beyond all limitation. Inclusive beyond all appearance.
This reading comes from Reverend Paul Beadle, who is the minister at First Unitarian in New Orleans. It's a prayer. Spirit of life and love, justice and peace, the spectacle of foolish pride is ever before us in these times. Indeed, pride has seldom looked so foolish in our lifetimes. So many people in positions of public trust and responsibility have lost their authority and our confidence spectacularly. And still they persist in their pride. They lie, they brag, they evade, they lecture, and they seem not to know that this makes matters worse. The example of the humble is also before us. Indeed, humility has seldom looked so wise. So many people in positions of public trust and responsibility who otherwise would not attract our notice have gained authority and our confidence by unspectacularly acting with honor. They persist in seeking truth, being accountable, stepping up to their duties and courage, asking the right questions, and without centering themselves, they seem to know that this matters. Seldom has the contrast between foolish pride and honest humility been so clearly before us. Come what may, O Spirit of life, may we own enough humility that we never need be humbled. May we own enough compassion that we are never tempted to humiliate. May we own enough forgiveness that neither the humbled nor the humiliators, who are all so much more, are ever outside the circle of our love. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power. So may it be. Amen.
I will stand with you. Will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand with me? When injustice raises up its fist and fights to stop us in our tracks, we will rise, and as one resist, no fear nor sorrow can turn us back. I will stand with you, will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand with me? When pain and hatred churn up angry noise and fight to drown out our freedom song, we will rise. reached before, for there is no stranger in this our home. I will stand with you. Will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand? Will you stand with me? I will stand with you. Will you stand with me? And we will be the change that we hope to see. In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand? Will you stand with me? In the name of love, in the name of peace, will you stand? Will you stand with me?
We've got a lot of ground to cover today. The title of the message is Universalism in the Breach. So let's begin with a bit of history. Many of you are aware already that Unitarian Universalism is a tradition that comes from Unitarians plus Universalists. They were separate, and they came together in 1961. But this morning, the piece of that equation that I want to begin by focusing on is the Universalist side. This year marks 250 years. It's the 250th anniversary of when John Murray introduced Universalist ideas to this land in 1770. Now, before that, not only had all the Calvinist ideas of total human depravity and only those being predetermined to be saved could be saved from their horrible state, also, the Great Awakening had happened with Jonathan Edwards talking about sinners in the hands of the angry God. Well, John Murray was in England. He suffered great loss. In a short period of time, he lost his wife, he lost his son, he lost 3 sisters and a brother, and was so poor that he wound up in debtor's prison. It was in this context that he came to believe in a benevolent God rather than one who was punishing and so harsh on humans for being human. A lot of what I'm going to use today comes from Reverend Schuyler Vogel, who is the 35-year-old minister at Fourth Universalist Society in New York. His congregation is predominantly people that are younger than him, I think. He said that among the people in his church, a lot of them consider him middle-aged and older. I take exception to that. But their building is an old, beautiful limestone building that church has been part of for a long time, even though it has changed names along the way. Schuyler Vogel shared that historically the Universalist view focused on individual salvation, and today Universalism is about collective liberation. The focus shifts then from heaven to this world and from God to humanity. And Vogel called it a story of expanding circles of care, of extended sympathy, and an increasing explicit commitment to human dignity. A story of justice and love lived out through human beings learning with each generation after generation. So John Murray came through all of this pain to believe in a God that loved everyone. His path was still Trinitarian. His path and faith included the concepts of the triune divinity of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So it was in Jose Ballou's time, 1789, that he became converted from being a Baptist to being a Universalist. It was Hosea Ballou that introduced the idea of a unitary God, one unified God, into the previously Christian tradition. Ballou moved Universalism to a Unitarian understanding of God as one. Though Universalists are often called the heart part of this tradition, this phase of our movement and our development was all about having the right understanding of God. It was very much a thing about you couldn't affect people's hearts until you spoke to their minds and gave them the correct understanding. They were still focused more on heaven than on our actions in this life. Ballou did hold a vision of classless society, but it was something that was more in theory and opinion than it was about living it out. Now, Vogel says it was theory, but not comfortable for it to be in practice. Eventually, over time, people came to believe that if God was universal, loving everyone, forgiving everyone, that maybe humankind needed to do the same thing. Somehow, living that out in the world was what we were called to do by being in the world. John Burens talked about Paul Dean, who was a contemporary of Hosea Ballou, writing that slavery and war and capital punishment were up to the individual to discern through biblical study whether, what their position was going to be. It took our moving into questioning doctrine, which we had already begun, but which had gathered a snowball effect, moving that critical examination of doctrine into a place where we knew we had to live it out. Fast forward. We move this movement of ours into an idea of radical welcoming. We want to make it a place where everyone can feel at home. As we often say in the beginning of our services, no matter who you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, people are welcome here. That means that we hold sacred the integrity and inherent worth of each individual. There are a lot of people in this world that for just about everybody, depending on which side of things your world is shaped, who can't understand or find tolerance for people across the way. That's not welcoming. And we've talked about trying to make a place that's welcoming of everybody. But if we do that and are so radically welcoming, we run the risk of losing our integrity to stand for the things that we see wrong. Vogel talks about his congregation, this young congregation in New York, moving from being a membership that is more than people believing in respect and the dignity of people, to feeling that membership is a matter of living it out, carrying that into the world. They have come together and move unapologetically for everything that they see stands against love, against justice. Somehow they have managed to organize in such a way that they can move quickly to meet the needs of our times, the challenges that come up unexpectedly without having to move through weeks and months of examination and committees. Fancy that. Unitarian Universalists not having to go through committees and committees and committees to figure out how to do something the right way. They're not so concerned with doing it perfectly as they are to responding to the call. That's all in New York. They decided, they were asked by an organization if they would serve as a sanctuary. It took the board 3 days to get that before the entire congregation. There was an immediate affirmative with not people worrying about whether they would be able to live it out or not. And then within a few months, they received the specific call to serve as a shelter for a woman and her children that were seeking asylum. And within 2 days, they were able to take this family in. It's hard to imagine moving that quickly to accomplish anything like this. Something that asks so much of us, or of anybody. That is New York. That is a young congregation. So let's move this a little bit closer to home. This congregation, All Souls, is in Shreveport, Louisiana. The dynamics of the systems around us are a bit different, even though all the underlying injustices are pretty much the same from one place to another. The way that they manifest can be pretty unique to an area. In a meeting, a virtual meeting, that I was a part of just within the last couple of weeks, a black man asked of the people on this meeting if the people present would be the voice to those radical on the other side, those who hold such diametrically opposed views that they're dangerous, they're threatening. And immediately, myself and another white minister talked about, well, but those people won't hear us either. We immediately moved into that mindset of, but it won't do any good. It's a waste of time. We've already tried that. They can't hear us. I have a friend who's a therapist, and a very good one, who one day was waxing a bit philosophical, trying to give some really sound advice to a person in crisis, who and was saying things that were particularly smart. But the person that they were talking to said, you have to meet me where I am before I can go where you want me to go. What we are being asked to do
It's the stuff we say, we can't do that. What the white parts of this community are being called to do is to find ways, do the work it takes to fill that breach. Over and over, I hear white people ask of black people, what can we do? What do you want us to do? How can we help? Rather than doing the work themselves to figure out how to talk to the white people, to go into the places where power and authority sit, and use the privilege that they've been given to make a difference in the places that those who have been marginalized or pushed aside or systematically oppressed have not had a voice before. Yes, we need to stand with them. Yes, we need to be supportive, especially when we're asked. But if the things that we are most called to do are the ones we just throw up our hands and say, we can't do that, it doesn't work, then we're not doing our work. And again, I will bring us back to a truth that Larry shares with us week after week. Unless we are grounded in ourselves, we can't do the work of bringing an all-embracing compassion to a broken and glaringly defective sometimes world. We can't get to the place where our reactions and our fear are set aside by our confidence that truth and light and goodness and hope and compassion will win out. We have to believe that this is our call. We have to believe that it's possible. We have to learn to listen and understand how people come to be where they are. That's hard work. It takes a depth of personal knowledge and character. But that's why it's called spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is not about being spice of life to make things taste better. It's not about, and these ideas come from Galen Gingrich, who's the minister at All Souls, New York. It's not about, spiritual practice isn't a garnish to make us look better to ourselves or look better to the world around us. Spiritual practice is not a diversion to make life more tolerable. It's a practice. It's like athletes working to prepare for their work so they don't have to think about pulling themselves back to what they know how to do. That's the default. Spiritual practice. How do we practice compassion unless we try to learn that together? Unless we try to create spaces where we can safely and lovingly and respectfully learn that together? How can we become the people capable of filling that breach? Being the gold in the broken pottery. It takes courage. It takes one step at a time. It takes acknowledging our brokenness and learning to see it. becoming familiar with our blind sides, which generally only happens if somebody else helps us find them. The story that Miss Susan tells about the smudge on our face. It takes the willingness to stand with others as they lead and to use our voices where others cannot speak. It takes letting our focus shift from our own comfort, our own cares, our own opinions, our personal truth and salvation, to awakening in a world for universal liberation. Yes, each of us matters as much as the next person. But each person matters as we do. Our strangers are our neighbors. I'd like to share a reading from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that came from 1967, later in his ministry. This, I believe, comes from his lecture entitled, "Where Do We Go From Here?" All of us have our moral convictions and concerns, and so often have problems with power. There's nothing wrong with power if power is used correctly. You see, what happened is that some of our philosophers got off base. And one of the great problems of history is that the concepts of love and power have usually been contrasted as opposites, polar opposites, so that love is identified with a resignation of power, and power with a denial of love. It was this misinterpretation that caused Nietzsche, who was a philosopher of the will to power, to reject the Christian concept of love. It was this same misinterpretation which induced Christian theologians to reject the Nietzschean philosophy of the will to power in the name of Christian ideas of love. Now we've got to get this thing right. Now we've got to get this thing right. What is needed is a realization that power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power is at its best love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. And this is what we must see as we move on. This is the way forward. Will we accept the work? Will we continue to awaken to our responsibility? I invite you to join me in 4 verses of the hymn, Wake Now My Senses. If in waking we see things that are wrong and we do nothing, we're complicit. If we use our comfort and our norm of being comfortable or of getting tired and going home as the standard and excuses, we've lost our compass. I want to thank all of you for being here today. I want to thank all of you for the heart you bring to this work. Be encouraged. Core. Stand by your center. Hear its calling. Take the time to develop the depths of yourself. Do that work and carry it to the world. Find ways to hear and understand what seems unfathomable. Slowly, if not any other way, may we find our way into filling the breach. We all have two religions, the religion we talk about, the religion we leave, and the religion we live. It's our task to make the difference between the two as small as possible. As we extinguish our community chalice, I hope as we move back into separate activities, our chalice light reminds us of that fire within ourselves. It's the same fire that illuminates the universe. It is our reminder that all is connected, even though the space of the void is vast. And our experience here is but a blip in the cosmic timeline. The flame is our promise that in our smallness and our short time on this earth, we will live intently and deeply with love for one another, with honesty and integrity, to be guided by rational thought and critical thinking, and with a sense of shared responsibility. For as the late astronomer Carl Sagan reminded us, this pale blue dot is the only home we've ever known. May we come to see our siblings as such as we go in peace.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we cry. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning